Good morning to everyone and welcome to another update on the market. For today, I decided to cover British pound versus US dollar. I will speak about the gold market, crude oil and Bitcoin versus US dollar. I will start with the British pound versus US dollar first. Basically, since my previous update, nothing really changed on the pound versus US dollar. Today we have a bank holidays in the Europe and we also have in the US. So the volatility is expected to be lower today, and really the market, this area around 1.2300 mark is critical for the British pound versus US dollar in this area. And we also, after the 2 days of the sell-off, the market started to drift and test the lower diagonal of this trend channel. And also there was like a Fibonacci expansion 100%, plus we had the cluster also the area where we have lots of reactions and swing highs and swing lows. So I will say the area at 1.2300 is a critical stochastic position, the faster stochastic. As we see, it's an oversold area and it's having the fresh bull cross, so there is a potential for the higher prices, at least towards the 1.2465 and maybe even all the way to the 1.2550, as long as the price can hold and hold above this 1.2300 mark. In case of the further a bigger drop and going below this support zone, then the next area to pay attention is around 1.2150 mark. Now, speaking of the gold market, again, a market is sitting near the very important cluster. There is plenty of the lows there on the daily time frame, and what the market did here is we have the consolidation. But the market did a downside breakout and the market tried to go higher and then close in the middle. Overall, market is in a strong bull cycle. You can see in the last 3-6 months. And this all can be just a corrective move. So I also placed the Fibonacci expansion from this swing high, this swing low, and this swing high. And we got a Fibonacci expansion 161.8 and to 1945. So I will say 1930 mark is important for the gold, because if we can take 1930, there's a probably then chance for testing of 1910 or 1900, which is the main Fibonacci confluence based on this whole bull run. So based on this whole upcycle, we have a Fibonacci confluence sitting around the 1910 and 1900 mark. But also this area might be the area where the gold can rotate back towards the top of this range, maybe 1985. Maybe even towards 2000 mark. So for now, we have this reaction up. So it seems like market found this area and reacted again, like similarly we had here. So there is a chance for that to move upside, and the risk reward is to the upside, not to the downside. Even though the downside might produce a market to go towards 1910, the risk reward is to the upside, especially because those mid-long-term trends are bullish. Speaking of the crude oil, we saw the mini gap this morning. Again, the key area, key pivot level for the crude oil is this area here around 74.50 and 74.70. So we'll see how the market reacted here. And as I mentioned, probably we'll have some rotational day, and we had exactly that rotational day. And now it's building higher lows here, but still so far, this is the key pivot to pay attention, because taking the 74.75 and holding above, this may indicate further higher prices towards 76 or eventually 79. But taking this series of the higher lows and having some confirmation to the downside may indicate that the lower prices towards the 69.50 and eventually the pin bar territory around 66 or 64 area. And speaking of the Bitcoin versus US dollar, this is something that I want to mention. So what happened yesterday is that we have finally that upside bar. So what happened here is basically that this is a classic fake breakout which got retested the low. There's lots of the guys probably who went to the downside, and this was a fake breakout. And again, the very important aspect here to understand is that underlying trend was the 3 to 6 month trend was absolutely to the upside, and this nice cluster of the low served like a very nice Probably lots of stops underneath the lows here, and then the buyer stepped in, the buyer stepped in again, and market is sitting at 27,950, and basically went strongly through this range. Essentially here, what I want to see is how the down days will behave. If the down days we have a narrow volume or narrow price action on the down days, then this will basically have a very good sign for further higher prices, and probably towards the 29,800 or even 30,000 mark. That'll be all for this update. I hope that you did enjoy. Trade safe as always, and speak to you from tomorrow morning.